Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. We are jumping back to 1981 with Time Bandits, directed by Terry Gilliam. We're then hitting the theaters for Freakier Friday by Nisha Ganatra. And finally, we're covering Weapons by Zach Krager. So let's get Vincent Daly in the room, see what he has to say about these films. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Mr. Vincent Daly, how are we doing over there, my friend?
Thomas, how's it going?
It's going okay with me on this side of the table. How was your week of movies, man?
Week was good. Gotta be honest, Time Bandits is increasingly looking like a random, more of a random choice than expected.
It was a random choice. So this was on your list, right? I'm assuming because after Brazil, this is the same guy that did Brazil?
Yep, bingo. So wanted to get to something there. Didn't really love the movie.
Well,
so.
I watched it too. I told you right before we hit record, and I watched that as well. You were like, "Did you watch Weapons?" And I said, "I didn't want to leave you hanging, so I watched Time Bandits." And
close with no cigar.
Yeah, we'll find out if I was rewarded or not for that. So the whole idea, well, obviously, Freakier Friday and Weapons.
Yeah,
those are our new movies.
Yep.
And then you went to one of your old lists. Vin with his list, he moves furniture in his apartment. He's like, "Oh God, I got another movie list sitting down here.
Got another list."
And Time Bandits was on there because this director Terry Gilliam,
yes,
who's a big director. I mean, he did Brazil, which is very loved.
Yeah, but Fear and Loathing Las Vegas
exactly
we covered.
Right, yeah.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You know.
Like he's
yeah, big stuff.
And he has an unofficial fantasy trilogy.
Yes.
Right? And the whole idea, well, I guess we'll just get, first of all, how you doing? Do we have alternative titles? Anything you want to
No. If
I
anything,
was really just jumping into it right away.
Yeah. That's the lead-in as far as, like, I have no chance at an alternative title.
Okay.
I mean, in the coming weeks, maybe. Well,
so before I want to talk TV before we get, I'm not going to talk about Deadliest Catch.
But this was, what you texted me, I actually got a belly laugh out of me. I was in public, too.
And I was quick. I didn't let a single second.
You had the picture right there.
So Vin texts me. So I tell Vin, I was just, what's our third? What are we doing this week? What are we doing this week? And Vin goes, our third movie is going to be Time Bandits. And I immediately shot back. I said, great with theming. We're really sticking with the whole Deadliest Catch theme here. Because Time Bandit is one of the main boats on Deadliest Catch for years and years.
Yeah, and if there was any chance that I didn't pick up what he was putting down, if through that picture, the example of Time Bandits
with the boat on it, that was perfect.
Great, really phenomenal.
Sticking with the Deadliest Catch theme. Episode 2 was good, by the way, but that's not what I wanted to get into. I do love that you did Time Bandits. It's just too funny.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Alien Earth? Which we're recording this on Tuesday. It's coming out. Actually, the episode just got released 12 minutes ago.
Really? Mm-hmm. So I didn't have any plans to cover it. I do like just the potential of seeing what they're going to do with, like, continuity in the story, because this is like the earliest.
It's getting, but no.
No?
This is 7 years after. Not Prometheus. What was the one that came out? Covenant. This is 7 years after Covenant.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's still a futuristic Earth,
correct?
But just Earth.
And is it 2? And it's 2 years before Alien Romulus.
Wow. Okay.
I believe.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's getting buzz all of a sudden,
right?
And which is shocking. It's an FX show. It's not like it's
Sleeper
HBO.
Hits on FX.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. But it's not. It's not HBO.
Right.
They got to watch the language. They have to watch some of the gore. That
sure.
kind of stuff.
That's my biggest concern of just like, are we going to get money shots like we get in Alien?
I think we will, based on what I'm hearing.
Really?
So I'm getting a little hyped. I didn't care at all. Timothy Oliphant's in it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Got my boy a little bit.
Absolutely.
A little bit. Okay. So,
We more and more we need a tracking chart of all your boys and the various degree.
I'll make a list.
Kind of boy or this is my boy.
The show's boy.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah, okay, but anyway, that's my TV talk.
Yeah, interesting. Listen, I hope the best for it, honestly.
I think I'm going to give it a watch.
Yeah. I don't know if I would get around to it. I don't know. They're doing weekly releases?
Yes. And I think tonight it's like they're doing the first 2 episodes, I want to say.
Okay, interesting.
And they're taking, apparently he's kind of going to change some lore.
He being the creator,
I forget the name of him. Ridley Scott is EP, executive producer on it. Mm-hmm. And apparently this guy's not too happy with Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Oh. So we might be rejiggering some things.
Oh, interesting.
Based on what I've been hearing, though. Yeah. Based on what I've been hearing, it's actually kind of impressive. When this first got announced, I'm just like, here we go. Might as well throw this out. Yeah. I mean, think about like Dune Prophecy on HBO.
Right.
No one talks about that
Total
show.
throwaway.
Very expensive show, too.
Yeah, and unfortunate, too. I mean, I think there's especially a property like Dune, there's broad enough of a stroke as far as like how many years the universe spans.
I think that's what kind of killed it, where it's like, hey, let's go 10,000 years back in time.
Right, and it still kind of
talk
looks
about
the same.
Characters that no one knows about. It's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so
the hunt for lore.
Wanted to get your idea on that, which is no thoughts.
Yeah. But well wishes, good wishes for them.
Okay, I'll check in with you next week.
There we go.
If I have time to watch those
This
two.
is Tom's TV hour now. We gotta change the whole thing.
Well, I didn't have to watch Freakier Friday. I mean, you put the daily in daily ratings.
Oh my God!
I just come on once a week, make sure the mics are turned on.
My God, Freakier Friday, man. I've never been so.
I felt bad you had to sit in that theater by yourself.
Willing to actually walk out of a movie. I mean, it wasn't like horrifically bad, but it was just kind of like
it could have been Argyle bad.
No, it definitely wasn't, and it really wasn't like bad in the sense that I wanted to leave because I couldn't stand to watch it. I wanted to leave because I just knew, 15 minutes in, it was on rails for exactly where it was going to go. An hour and 50 later. You know what I mean?
All right.
I probably could have just like guessed my review and been come out all right.
That's pretty good. I don't doubt that at all. Yeah. But we'll get into that in about 20 minutes from now. Let's step back to 1981. We'll pick up with what I was kind of throwing down right away.
Yeah.
Which was director Terry Gilliam, which we just discussed. He wanted to make the movie Brazil, which came out in 1985.
Yep.
It was a sleeper hit. You watched it, and you were like, this movie's fantastic. What did you get, an 87
87, must watch. Yeah.
And people love that film. It's not just like you're weird in that way. Loved it.
It is a weird movie.
But it's one of the better 80s movies, let's be honest. But he wanted to make Brazil first, and he wasn't trusted with that much money. And so he wanted to make a more kid-friendly movie that is in just a dystopian kind of fantasy world.
Yeah. Initially, I had some interest because I thought this was going to be dark fantasy. I can't really call it dark fantasy, not with like us covering other things like that earlier this year. But
okay.
But yeah, he wanted something more kind of financially feasible and what's going to move numbers. But
and it was, by the way.
Movie. Yeah.
And then since it kind of hit success, critics kind of liked it, and that's where he was able to get the funding for Brazil. And then I forget what was the third movie he did, but he calls it the unofficially like fantasy trilogy that he did. Yeah,
it's a weird one. I haven't even relatively heard of this. It is, where is it? The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yes, that's correct.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, very British. I think you look at his filmography. There's a lot of different directions he goes, but
and so a lot of his backing came from George Harrison of the Beatles, because George Harrison kind of had his own production company.
Wow!
And so he fronted the money for this, and he's executive producer on Time Bandits.
I didn't catch that. Wow!
It's loaded with actors.
Yeah. Still didn't love it.
Just kind of. I don't know where to take it from there. That's the setup. That's how we get this film. Yeah. This is supposed to be the kid-friendlier version of some crazy fantasy world.
Yeah, right.
Why don't you set it up? We'll take it back and forth.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take it back in Frozen. Go ahead. Go ahead. Time Bandits, 1981.
This is what you get when you ask for something off the list. Truly random. Listen, folks, having the freedom to choose a movie this week was unexpectedly stressful. Do I cover something we missed throughout the year? Do I tie something in thematically? Should I save it for a special? We're doing a lot of work ahead this month for episodes while I go on vacation. And if anything, the more I kind of looked at that list, the more indecisive I grew. But director Terry Gilliam jumped out to me as someone I truly wanted to spend my day off with, mostly because his movies that we've covered have kind of pigeonholed what any normal director study would be. Brazil is smack dab in the middle of this unofficial trilogy, and as far as the insanity of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, that is kind of in a new era for him as well. So
yeah, it does feel different.
Yeah, we almost jumped around too much with this, so I just wanted to kind of, tackle something of his. On the podcast, though, we have touched on 1998's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the manic spiral down Hunter S. Thompson's life, played by Johnny Depp. We gave it a great 77. And like you introduced already, Tom, 1985's Brazil, an instant must-watch for me because it was just one of the more unique sci-fi satires ever put to film. That's standing at an excellent 87 on the site. What strikes my interest and why I wanted to introduce it this way is that Terry Gilliam has some insane range when you look at these movies. Almost directionless in a lot of sense, but he's also writing a lot of these movies as well. I think it's perfectly shown in those two examples, but no less his breakthrough project being the beloved Monty Python and the Holy Grail from 1975. So I thought, in a week with zero direction, let me catch a vibe from Gilliam and go with what kind of sparks some imagination. And like you said, this is the unofficial trilogy of imagination. Time Bandits from 1981 is exactly that. With Gilliam referring to it as the start of this trilogy. The film kicks off, goes on to Brazil, goes on and later wraps up with 1988's The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. And as far as unofficial director trilogy goes, this feels pretty loose to me, if I'm being honest. We've kind of shit on, when directors kind of posts say this was actually a trilogy. Yeah.
I can see that this makes sense. Now, I didn't watch Brazil.
Right.
But it's kind of just batshit crazy, and it goes crazy places.
Yeah.
At least for Time Bandits, and I think Brazil goes there.
Right.
So that's his thing.
That's his thing, yeah. I guess all of them being from imagination, just that he wants to reach as far out into the fringe as he can to come up with
He has quite the imagination, this guy. Quite the imagination.
All three films, they certainly deal with fantastical elements, kind of blended into a world that doesn't bat an eye at them, regardless of how kind of strange they get. Time Bandits is a time-hopping fantasy adventure film, a family adventure film at that, with a surprising religious undertone because the adventure spans all of existence. Kevin is a young British boy fascinated with history and figures of old, finding out that when he goes to bed at night, the stories of the past have come to life before his eyes. He is roped into helping a gang of thieves who just happen to pass through his room, accessing the different eras of time with a stolen cosmic map. It turns out the fabric of time has many holes like this that were never patched up and now are being used by forces both good and evil. These thieves reveal that they are actually God's little helpers and taking a well-needed vacation away from the supreme being, but their recklessness will end up leaving poor Kevin stranded throughout time. Poor Kevin is really... I don't have a formal note on this one, but poor Kevin. I'm glad you watched this in the sense to say poor Kevin.
Kevin.
This kid. This is not a fun adventure for him. He's really just whisked away in a bad way.
Yeah, but he stays with it. His attitude is always positive.
Right.
His acting could have been a little bit better, but
yeah.
Kevin does stay with it.
Kevin stays with it. I would say watching this in modern day, I think it works way more for adults tagging along to their kids rather than the kids themselves being the intended audience. I say that for 1981. I say that certainly for modern day.
This I'll tell you, I didn't put kids or family as a genre on this. After watching it, I knew because I was reading it first before I turned it on, and I was like, "Oh, kids movie, yada yada." The more I watch this, I'm like, I'm not putting kids on this. I'm I'm not getting notes from
Kids stay
parents. I'm not
away.
getting, if you want to produce a little bit, get back to it. Tell
Right,
us how
some
not-
anger.
But things happen in this movie, and I'm like, what? Down to the very end. I'm like,
Yeah.
what just happened? And that's when I
Seriously.
said, I'm not putting kids on the site on this one.
So true. I mean, like, I think on some level, this is probably the first counterexample to what we always talk about, that a good family movie has the balance of some of it's for kids, some of it's also for adults, whether that's being jokes that adults can only catch or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the first time I've ever experienced a reverse example of that, of just being like way too adult and almost nothing for the kids,
Yes. This is not anywhere close to... We talk about those almost kind of weird vibe, creepier kids movies.
Yes.
James and the Giant Peach, and now we have Legend of Ochi.
Yeah, true.
This, different level. This is different level of... I'm just not
Scarier
so
than
sure.
both, for what it's worth.
I want to go under 12, right?
Yeah.
It's rated PG, but boy...
Yeah,
You gotta be careful with this one.
it really is. It's surprising
For a
to be
few
sure.
reasons.
Yeah, I think one of the positives of this leaning more adult is for 1981, it's a pretty dynamite cast here.
Huge.
Ian Holmes is Napoleon. Always surprised to seeing what role we're gonna get out of him. I think Ian Holmes has like incredible range as an actor.
He's not afraid to go crazy.
Yeah,
he's not
funny.
He's not afraid to go there.
Yeah, dramatic. I mean, he's all over the map. John Cleese is Robin Hood, who was, of course, a carryover from Monty Python. The same actually goes for Michael Palin, who shares a writing credit on this movie as well. But the real catch here is Sean Connery playing King Agamemnon, attempting zero accent work, and I really would just have it no other way.
No, absolutely. Best part of the movie, bar none. Not gonna lie. Fast forward a little bit through parts of the movie.
Sure, totally acceptable.
And then I got here and I stuck it out.
Yeah, if anything, I think why I say poor Kevin is because in this section, he finally wants to kind of stay put in the time. He really enjoys his role in, ancient Greece or the Bronze Age. And man, it's just like, the time bandits come along. It's just like, all right, let's get you in more trouble. It's something else. I think all of these are ultimately guest spots. I can't really say they're like huge performances, but it was just really enjoyable seeing who was going to show up as what key figure in each time period. I think that was definitely key to the enjoyment as like seeing this as an adult. Pacing, though, sadly, was a serious rough spot here. I think in comparison to modern kids' movies, this is just like gonna bore you to tears. To tears as far as like the attendance audience goes, and I mean that like back then and even now.
Yeah.
I think the main issue is that we just spend a lot of time, way too much time in each of the segments, and partly that's a slight good thing because it gives these historical guest spots time to breathe on screen. You get to ham around with Ian Holmes as Napoleon, making short jokes and whatnot, but as a result, I just think like each one of these segments are more than just a little boring. Like they were just outright boring.
Yeah, I think every single one goes on too long.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and 50 minutes, and I was like 40 minutes into this film, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me.
I was hoping I was 2/3 through it here.
Yeah. Like I said, we've talked about it before on the podcast of just like the mark of a great family movie, and I think in just a lot of ways, this is just catering too much to adults. We get the rare example of a kids movie trying to please adults more than the intended audience, and I personally just thought it was too much time spending on, I don't know, like historical jokes that are just going to go over the head of any kid watching this movie, even if they're into history, if that's like their kind of intended audience. And despite each time period having moments of excitement, each section, I mean, it takes time to settle in. It takes time to ramp up in each section. There's also a surprising lack of music that I feel like would just do wonders at keeping things a little bit more snappy. Sometimes close to 20 minutes in each of these sections before we get another burst of adventure. I think that's where it really falls short in being an adventure movie. You know what I mean? It's not exciting.
No, it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And it is too boring, and it just, it's a tough one. This was a tough one for me. I'm not going to lie. This was really tough to hang. Well, like I said, I mean, when you're fast forwarding through a movie, hard to say you enjoyed yourself.
It is hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say what was even working and what was not. What actually caught your eye. Also, go figure, for any early 80s movie, it's also way too scary for kids at times.
Way too scary. Way too scary.
This kind of dips into like, will this work? Will this work? To no, this is not going to work, for kid audiences, or especially in, I feel like when I talk to different parents or whatnot, watching old movies with their kids, they either want to show them what they grew up with, or show them just something that might be different than the slop today. This is too hard edge, this is too hardcore for that type of approach.
I mean, my hot take here on this film,
this
is PG, this is Kids, The Holy Mountain. I mean, this is
a very esoteric take. I like it. I like it.
This is a fever dream come to life. We are going from this place to this place. I mean, the God element of all of this. It is
scary.
It is insane where this movie goes. To makes me, I'm totally questioning who Terry Gilliam is as a person. Right. How much drugs did he do? It's just crazy that we have Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And we have Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And then in the middle, we have this? What is this guy doing in it? I mean, the 80s. This guy is experimenting in more than one way. I guarantee it.
I guarantee
Folks,
it, too.
The film goes crazy. Well, first of all, I mean, the Time Bandits are a group of dwarves that are the ones going around almost being
mischievous.
I was going to say time-traveling pirates is what they are.
Exactly.
And right there, it's like, oh, okay. Like, we're already crazy concept. I actually love the premise of the film.
Sure.
And execution,
they don't do anything with it.
It is as, I don't know, it is put a child on acid, and I guess this is what we get. It is a fever dream come to life. This is a PG Holy Mountain.
Wait until we cover Alice in Wonderland type stuff. I mean, that is truly the offspring of acid and psychedelics. So.
But did you feel a little Jodorowsky? Like
I don't know. I definitely wasn't on that wavelength. I like the call out though.
I couldn't stop thinking about it when it popped in my head. I said, I know exactly what this is.
Jodorowsky's kind of like whimsiness, just like because he's he's Spanish and eccentric, maybe a little bit of that. But. I think my enjoyment was in the VFX, but also the VFX were also the Achilles heel because it's like where this moves into unacceptable to show a kid. The Supreme Being is a terrifying floating head that is basically introduced with a jump scare. I mean, it's weird to call it a jump scare, but it is a jump scare as far as being in a kid's movie. He just like shows up and he's like booking it towards you as this like scary floating head. Also, the main bad guy, just called Evil, is an absolute nightmare. He's like this grafted metal monstrosity. He's got organic tubes sticking out of it. It like straight out felt like it was out of a David Lynch movie or something.
Insane.
It was like Eraserhead visuals.
Baffling me.
Yeah, nuts. So I think while a lot of my appreciation on the film, it's in that VFX work, it's also way too nuts, and in a way that hurts, again, the family fun it's going for. It is all over the movie trying to be whimsical family fun. I feel like they just dips way too deep into these areas, and also boring too, so it's like...
Very strange. It is, you're right.
Yeah.
It is boring.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, it's insane.
Yeah, I know. Real tough. But, folks, I will say, if you are into maybe finding those deep-cut gems, those family movies that might be rough around the edges from yesteryear, maybe with a watch beforehand, you can maybe check this out with its intended kid audience. I get a lot of Indian in the Cupboard vibes from this, from how imagination-focused it is.
Yeah.
The time jumping to historical figures feels like a template we'll see later on for like Night at the Museum or even like a Bill and Ted type of movie. But for now, I seriously question how much a kid would actually enjoy this, and how much did Gilliam think that this was a financial move. This was a financial vehicle for his career and not a nightmare that it is. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give Time Bandits 1981 a 48.
Okay, a 48%. Good. I didn't know.
I was fine with it because I wanted to enjoy the pick, my one pick I had this week, but no, I had to be.
And I thought there was a chance with how crazy it gets and conceptual, and again, the imagination behind it. I love the premise,
right.
But boy, does the guy's going places.
It should have been a bunch of different time heists. The heist movie, you get... they get to the ship so late. The ship that's on the poster is like, it's not a factor at all. Like, what are you talking about?
I didn't enjoy myself at all. At all.
At all.
Shocked that this movie existed.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think maybe if you're just about to go, it's the summer before you get to high school, you're of age, and if you have a sleepover, turn this on with your boys.
So this is a pretty lame sleepover, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I can see if I don't know, man. I don't know. It is crazy. Like, it is nuts.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Listen, when we had sleepovers, we'd watch, Boston Legal?
Don't say that.
And ate chicken wings?
Oh, a lot of chicken wings, too. Too many chicken wings for one man. Oh, man.
Okay, so that's Time Bandits. An absolute acid trip come to life in that film. The end, though. Yeah, we can't say. But I watched the end, and I'm just like, are you kidding me?
I thought it was going to be set up for a joke. I thought it was going to be set up for anything other than the actual, morbid ending we got. I was like, oh, my God. He should have stayed in Mesopotamia or whatever the Bronze Age it was in.
Film critics, love this. This has a surprising bell curve on this movie. Don't buy the hype.
Don't buy the hype.
If I'm saying it and Vince saying it, there's that something.
Right.
If you want to watch it, it's on Max. Super easy to get.
It is super easy. Yeah, that was also a reason to watch it, but...
Oh, shit. Okay. Let's jump on. Let's get freakier now. Jump into the theaters for this week. So we didn't cover the OG Freaky Friday.
No, we didn't.
Was that 2004, 2006?
2003 is the one, but there's actually, I'll get into it in just a second, but there's enough for a whole 5 spot. The Freaky Friday's been around a long time.
Right, because there was the OG from a while back, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but regardless, we have the main cast back for Freakier Friday. You go ahead and get into it. Tell us... Just tell us how to go, how was the theater experience, and what's it about?
A painful theater experience, but like I said, just because it was just on rails, what I mean? I could have guessed every plot point with pretty good accuracy. All of this, though, spawning from the original children's book from 1972, Freaky Friday has not only been a long-standing IP for Disney, it really has become one of the, for lack of a better word, meta stories we use as shorthand to talk about movies. Good examples of this are something like Groundhog's Day, Back to the Future. Freaky Friday's body swap premise has impacted movies as a whole, living far beyond the entries in the series directly. As far as those go, between in-theater and TV movies, this marks the 5th time we've seen the franchise come around. And listen, I get it. 5 is the magic number for a series spot episode. If it's got 5, we usually like to do it, but I really did not have the energy to watch all 5
No,
of these.
it wasn't in the cards. No way. Even I wouldn't put you through that.
Yeah. Especially 2 of those are TV movies and just not great. But it's been around for a long time. I was excited to, see the most modern version of it just because you get this body swap premise all over movies. You had that Vince Vaughn movie that it was like a horror version of...
Still need to watch it.
Yeah, right.
Because it has okay reviews on it.
Yeah.
Better than okay, actually.
Yeah. So it's just one of those movie premises that have lived beyond the series, which I think is kind of interesting. Our new release, though, this week is the first time we get an actual sequel, bringing back the cast members from arguably the most popular version from 2003, starring, of course, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Freakier Friday, however, is just very blatantly a streaming movie bumped to theaters, and even while Disney's analysts might have made the right call, the quality of this production is pretty obvious when you see this.
Okay.
Tom, I think you said on the news show this was second highest at the box office?
Yeah, it did okay.
Yeah, so... I feel like Disney occasionally makes these calls that, it feels like a Disney Plus release, but they just bump it to theaters. There was something recently that we
It was Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah, it was Mean Girls.
And that ended up being financially a good idea to put it in theaters.
Yeah, so I guess, it's for the birds, ultimately, whether they should or they shouldn't. Nonetheless, the product reeks of what it is.
For sure. It was a good call. I think the budget was, they were saying the budget was around 20 to 26 million. So it's made that back in the box office.
There you go.
So by the time it's all said and done, marketing and all that crap,
Sure.
it's going to make money.
Absolutely. This sequel is the same body swap comedy we all know, but also feels slammed together with other previous Lohan classics, like 1998's The Parent Trap, for instance. We check back in with Tess Coleman, played by Jamie Lee, and Anna Coleman, played by Lindsay Lohan. Another notch further in their lives, still being in each other's hair when it comes to parenting. Anna is a single mom now to her daughter Harper, and despite being a literal rock star, is too corporate for her, as her surfer free spirit says she must rebel against her mom, even though, again, I'll say this multiple times, she's still a rock star. Like, it really just, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Anna is looking for a partner, though, and hits it off with the worst possible option available, the single dad to Harper's most hated classmate, Lily, suddenly on the fast track to becoming stepsisters. When each of them is pulled into a mystical palm reader, their fates cross, causing them to swap bodies when they wake up in the next morning. But while the Colemans might be used to this by now, the two daughters have no problem using the chaos to sabotage the wedding neither of them want. I mean, straight up, this feeling like a streaming movie, it is the root of all evil. It's the root of all the problems. Going through my very few notes that I had for this, it just really boils down to the movie feeling like streaming slop. It looks cheap, it feels cheap, the sets are cheap, the jokes are cheap. You know, I think unless you just like absolutely adore that 2003 movie, there's just going to be very little here for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
and
sure.
unfortunately, I do fall into that.
I think most people do.
I'm the epicenter of that problem.
Well, it even sounds like it hit less than Mean Girls.
Yeah, and granted, Mean Girls is a different direction because of the whole musical spin and whatnot.
Yes.
You know, but here, I mean, it's just
And the thing is, by the way, it has a budget of $42 million, by the way.
Oh, okay,
Which it's
42.
sitting at 46 as far as box office.
Oh, okay, so that's
again,
where it's covered the book.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be okay still. Mm-hmm. It's you do like Lindsay Lohan, and we kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, she's got chops.
Yeah.
But as you say, rails, big time.
Yeah, serious rails.
Were you laughing at all? Was anything catch you off guard? Or?
No, I mean, listen, I didn't need to laugh. You know, I understood that at least going into it, but. But yeah, like I said, the streaming slop, it's really the root of everything. Oof, does this have a really bad script? Believe me, folks, I understand that I'm not the audience for this. I painfully felt that every second of being in the theater. But this shit was just mind-numbing how basic it was. I really can only imagine that I was experiencing what a modern Disney Channel type of movie would feel like a TV-style movie. Honestly, though, it just felt insulting to the teen perspective the most. This has what irked you, Tom, about Turning Red, and that's going back now quite a bit, where just every joke boils down to hate your mom, blah, blah, blah,
mm-hmm.
Mom's an asshole, you know, the whole thing. And I gotta say, the whole mom's not cool enough angle really falls f***ing short when Lindsay Lohan is a former rock star. She's had an entire career being a rock star. So much so that she's given a cushy job at Capitol Records because she has been a rock star. And it's just like, that setup falls really short when, you know, there's no example I could give better than like a rock star. Like,
you're saying you weren't buying it? You're saying you're not buying that she's not cool?
It's so ridiculous. Also, Lindsay Lohan's job at the record label is so simple. It felt like a Barbie job insert. It felt like really like this was marketed towards like a 7-year-old, which like it very well might be, but like the small tasks thrown in there are just pure fantasy, and then they're just paid off with fun dress-up photo shoots. Like, this is not... There's like not an ounce of anything in here of substance, you know. Is just ridiculous. You know, for the whole movie, it's just an endless pile of low-hanging fruit. That's what I mean by just like the writing being just really poor. Forget it not hitting for me. Forget it not, I don't know, being original enough. It's just like, it felt like everything predictably could be done was done.
And it was lazy.
Exactly. What's Jamie Lee doing? Oh, she has a podcast now. We got to break up the marriage. Time to, you know, get the love interest from the first movie. What's cooler than a rock star? Being a bum van life surfer? I'm sorry, I can't get over this. Like,
I think I might hate this movie. I'm glad I watched Time Bandits now, not this.
I mean, do the children of rock stars have any respect for their parents? Like, Tony Hawk, I mean, does his son or daughter hate him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the whole example collapses. The whole kickoff of the joke collapses because she's a rock star.
You make a valid point, Vin.
It's unreal. It's unreal. Now, probably like I would have said for every single movie, if we covered the whole series, this does hit a little bit of a stride once we're having fun with this body swap premise. All the pulling teeth was just like leading up, like, just get me to the palm
the crescendo.
reader.
Let's do it.
Yeah, which is,
Was a palm reader, did that happen in the first one, palm reader?
Yeah, I think from what I understand, it's always some sort of palm reader because it's like, crossing fates type of stuff, But I could be wrong. I didn't watch the OG. Right. On a positive, both Lohan and Curtis have just been in a lot of throwaway, if not trash, as of late, and it was just kind of nice to see them have some energy on screen. I think both of them together is a little bit of a highlight.
Well, Curtis is good. Curtis gets good, kind of weird, different roles. It's Lohan that's struggles.
Yes.
Well, I think
she's been in like Hallmark level.
Well, I think
stuff.
on the press, she's like. I think she appreciates being in this movie, but she even made a comment saying like, "I wish I could get new roles," type of deal. She's like, it sucks that I have to go back to old IP, because she's just not trusted. She still is. I don't know. She never really got back after everything went down.
Sure. And almost it reminds me of what we were talking about last week with Pam Anderson's kind of re-entry into fame. Lohan, I feel like, had a similar break, obviously fueled by a lot of stuff. Yeah. But I feel like that's been far less successful, whether it boils down to their agents. You know what I mean?
Or age.
Yeah, true.
I think, I just think, Lindsay Lohan, I think she's only like 39 still.
Great.
It's just crazy that we've known her since. For as long as we can remember, basically.
Right.
But that is a thing with her, I think,
Yeah.
She's getting the roles that she can get.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I do think that the unexpected choice of slamming together the plots of Freaky Friday and The Parent Trap into this kind of works somewhere in the middle of the movie, because it's like, it just gives us something to do other than, oh, I'm in an old body, let's not have fun. Oh, I'm in a young body, let's have fun. At least them trying to break up the parents or break up this marriage, there was, I don't know, there was a little bit of rhythm to it. But seriously, folks, this was a movie I could have easily walked out of and gotten the same effect, which I will always call the Lightyear problem. While I don't think that makes for a recommendation outside of the people that see it as a cult classic, like I said, if you really adore the 2003 movie, this is going to be something there that probably will hit for you on a certain level, but that can almost be said about any of these legacy sequels, and that's exactly what this is on a streaming level. We're going to go ahead and give Freakier Friday a 34.
A 34%. Loving these scores this week. 34%. Okay. I don't think anyone's shocked by this one.
Yeah.
Have to say. I'm liking this compilation on the site, potentially. Body swap movies. Freakier Friday, The Substance.
Yeah. Definitely The Substance.
You get a good array there.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be a long review. I don't know if we need to delve into Freakier Friday deeper.
That's what I said. I was at the point of just like, I looked at my notes after the movie. I was just like, oh my God, I have nothing. I have like actually nothing. I was just trying to get through it. So
I think, like you said, if you're attached to the original.
Yeah.
And this is something good. And I bet it's 22, 23 years later. Moms who were kids who watched that.
So true.
Now have kids and can go see it.
So true.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, that is cool.
Yeah. There is something there, and clearly the right call on Disney's part releasing this to theaters, because I think, regardless of how the movie feels and what it very blatantly is, I feel like this would make more sense on the streaming platform, so you could just kind of watch it as a casual watch, mom and daughter type of shit.
Yeah. Mommy-daughter date, though.
Yeah, I guess go to the theater.
Mean Girls. And I'll tell you what, there's 40 million to 60 million budget. I want to see more and more of.
Yeah, true.
As long as... Well, look at when we covered Eddington. Yeah. And I said, wow, for $30 million, this looks way better.
Oh, yeah, punching above its weight.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm liking these budgets because more can get made. You give it to some auteurs. You don't have to worry about it making $700 million.
Right,
you know? But okay, and it will do well, but that's just us, that if we were studio executives, we would make all the wrong decisions. And that continues.
Yeah, seriously, it really does continue. Anytime I mention an elevator pitch, just ignore what I'm saying, honestly.
All right, folks. Well, listen, hey, if you like the daily ratings just as much as Vin didn't care for Freakier Friday, remember that we are listener-supported here at the Daily Ratings. We are producer-supported, so we don't have any advertising here on the site or on the podcast. There's no paywalls either. You don't need to pay to get more access to content here. Everything Vin and I do, it's out there for free. Technically, but the idea is, if you're enjoying it, if you're stopping by the podcast, using the website, we look at that as value in your pocket. So could you send us value back in our pocket? It's the value for value model. And like I said, so we're listener supported, we're producer supported. And how do you become a producer? You go to thedailyratings.com, you head to the donations tab, and through your monetary support, through your donations, you become an actual, legitimate, credited producer of the Daily Ratings. That's how they do it in Hollywood. When you financially support a project, you're a producer of the project, and that's how we're doing it here as well. So like I said, dailyratings.com, head to the donations tab. There's some set donations that you can check out, but there's the big value for value button right there, and it can be whatever amount of value you're getting. Everyone's on their own finances. That's why we're doing it this way, where you don't have to peg a number. You don't have to give us a certain amount of money. It's big or small. $5, $50, $500. Everyone's got their own thing going on. Vin and I, we keep things slim down here. It's me and him. And I actually want to give a shout out to our video editor, though. So if you follow us on Instagram or Shorts on YouTube or anything like that, we have John, who has been phenomenal with cutting up our stuff and sending out some great shorts. So I do want to give a really kind of a producer shout out to John. We appreciate his work on that. And everything else podcast-wise and on the site, it's really all me and Vin. We like to keep overhead very low here. But there's still upkeep. There's up costs to do. Monthly, yearly basis. We can't tell you really how much Vin and I appreciate anyone who donates into the show, any producers that come into us. We really do appreciate it. So again, it's thedailyratings.com. Head to the donations tab. And when you send something our way, also email us a producer note. This could be questions, comments, critiques, start a conversation, add to a conversation that we already are having. It could be whatever you want. If you're a producer, we want to bring you into the fold, bring you into the conversation, because that's what producing is all about. So you can email us at tom.vin@thedailyratings.com. That's our email, and send your note there. If you want to be anonymous, just say, hey, keep me anonymous, and of course, we'll honor that. This is episode 199, Vin.
Wow.
Next week is episode 200 of the Daily Ratings. If you've been enjoying your time, if you just found us or have been around since the very beginning, we hope you appreciate what we got going on here, and maybe think about becoming a producer for episode 200. Vin and I are doing something kind of special for 200. We're actually not making a big deal about it.
Right.
It's just like, hey, it's another week. Here we go. But we did, instead of watching necessarily what's brand new in theaters, we're kind of doing a cool show for next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe we'll announce that on the new show on Tuesday.
Sure.
But Vin and I are traveling. We're traveling to go see a new movie that's out, just so we can get in theaters. It's on a very limited release.
Yep.
But it's going to be a cool episode 200. We hope that everybody stops by, gives a listen, enjoys. And again, if you want to be a producer, just head on over to thedailyratings.com. With that, Vin, let's go to the director, Zach Cregger.
Yep.
This is his second feature film. The first one was Barbarian a few years ago. Did we cover that on the podcast?
Yeah, we definitely did.
Okay, but it was early.
Yeah. But I definitely remember reviewing that for the podcast.
I think because it was 2022, I want to say.
Yep.
So this is a second feature. It really did well at the box office. Cregger is now getting he's now getting a name for himself.
Yep.
And I think he's going to get some pretty big backing.
I think the momentum of that has not even stopped since this coming out. I mean, this has only been increased.
Absolutely. So you go ahead and get into it. He's more your guy than my guy. I was close to seeing this, but I'm dying to hear about Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger.
Let me say, I mean, Weapons, there's a lot you could spoil with this. I'm going to try to stay away as much as possible from those spoilers.
Please do.
And if anything, to really lean into the selling point of that, the movie itself, I would say its mystery was probably the best quality and why you should check it out. So that continues beyond my review. Until you see Weapons, really try to stay away from this as much as possible, because it was definitely worth it in that sense. This is also continuing the many examples of comedy talent to horror director pipeline. Zach Cregger's makes a big swing with Weapons being his second film, bumping up everything from cast to concept and, most importantly, those box office numbers. This did very good over the weekend.
Yeah, it made about $44 million.
And what was budget-wise on this one?
I'll check it here real quick for you.
Just impressive that this was such a financial hit because
$38 million the budget.
Wow.
So made that back.
Good for him.
And so it'll be printing money by next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. While he may want to distance himself from his humble sketch comedy beginnings, and again, really, really great. Whitest Kids You Know, definitely some great internet comedy.
I can't believe was that a show or was that just internet?
I think that was like an IFC show.
You're
but
right.
I found it on the internet.
Right, of course. Man, I can't believe he started on Whitest Kids You Know.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Gregor's shows no signs of slowing down after this, though, being tapped to hopefully crack a halfway decent Resident Evil adaptation for his next project, where otherwise the RE franchise has been always just doomed to have some of the worst video game movie adaptations ever made. So best of luck with that, Zach.
He's starting fresh.
Yeah?
So he he kind of wants to take Resident Evil on his own thing. He might even kind of not exactly adhere to whatever happens in the games.
Interesting.
He's making his own thing. So
Okay. Best of luck.
Let him do his own thing.
Yeah, that is a cursed video game adaptation if there ever was one. There's really not been a single good RE adaptation. And that's a shame because it is a classic video game franchise.
Sure.
Now in 2025, it's been an interesting year for horror, mostly because it feels like lackluster releases in other genres have made audiences really latch on to any sliver of good we get. We encountered that with Sinners earlier in the year. And while I definitely thought this was really good and without a doubt momentum for a new director, I'm not exactly on the same page as the incredible hype for this film. I thought this was really good. I think it was absolutely worth a watch. I just don't know if it was, again, the overhype feels a bit much. And if that feeds into the marketing for the film, fantastic. All the better. But I feel like there is a little bit of a balance here for it. Weapons is a horror mystery with, again, more emphasis on hiding the answers to that mystery to build up an extremely satisfying payoff. Even without hearing other reviews, I can guarantee the talking points around this and maybe even the original concept for the movie are all around the last 10 minutes of the runtime. In this story, we dance around the many lives affected by a strange occurrence at Maybrook Elementary, who experienced the unexplainable when 17 children simultaneously ran away in the middle of a night, never to come back. A lack of answers morphs into insatiable anger, swirling inside every parent grieving for their lost ones, now mostly directed at the teacher of their class, Justine, played by Julia Gardner, and the only remaining child, Alex, who is suspiciously left behind. Archer, played by Josh Brolin, might be struggling the most out of all the parents, though, with his anger, and springs into his own investigation fueled by frustration, delusions, and inaction from law enforcement. Separated into 6 character chapters, the puzzle pieces interweave together, revealing a bit more each time, but in order to find these children, everyone will have to consider the impossible. I feel like these character chapters are by far the most interesting thing this has going for it. On top of playing keep away with the answers the audience wants, the answers we crave, just even if you see the first trailer for this, it gives us a lot of switch-ups in the film's tone. Basically, there are 6 chapters total, different character perspectives. Again, sometimes that's a half step backwards in the timeline to see something from a different perspective. Other times it's entirely new and kind of reaching much further in the timeline of the story. I would say these switch-ups in tone are what's so interesting about it, though, because the movie is not really a comedy, but there are moments that we're just given some relief. We're giving some ease of the high tension that we're introduced to in the beginning of the film and definitely the premise of the film.
I was a little bit surprised to hear how much comedy might be in this.
Yeah.
How many moments of brevity,
Yeah.
I guess you can say. I kind of was expecting this to be a straight thriller horror, but it sounds way more of a mix.
Way more of a mix, but also unique for that reason. I think that's a good thing. I feel like the switch up in tone is handled a lot better than what we saw saw in Kreger's last movie, Barbarian, his writing likes to take a breather or kind of small resets in the story, which is looking to be his trademark, honestly, if I had to call it now. What I'm pointing to in Barbarian is basically the swap over to Justin Long's character that completely releases tension from the movie and becomes, outright comedic. Most of the time, when we take a step backwards in the story to shift in a character perspective, it allows for that same satisfying rise in tension to build up once again. And I really mean satisfying. But also, a lot like his last film, can be a sort of palate cleanser in the tone of the story, specifically leaning towards comedy. And I will just have to put a pin in that just for now, just for a second on the comedy. Kreger's flavor of horror, though, is without a doubt shock, almost above anything else. And I think the mystery was so satisfying here. It was because it wasn't because it was overly complex or a really I'm pulling together threads given to us throughout the story. It's rather how shocking the reveal to the answer is and how much keep away it does play with that answer towards the very end. Don't get me wrong. This doesn't have exactly jump scares in it either. That's not what I mean by shock. The movie creates a sleepy and dreamlike atmosphere, only to pay it off with just big flashes of disturbing horror. And usually then, that what marks our break to another character for another reset, another break in tension, another rebuild up into,
it's funny,
the horror.
I mean, if there's any connective tissue here between our films, is that we do have almost vignettes. Then it sounds like Time Bandits,
yeah,
and then we have this. But is it that sectioned off?
No. Well,
are they hard cuts? Boom, new story with this character, and you're somewhere in the timeline.
In that sense, yes.
Not even in this, right? Okay.
Yeah. In that sense, there are hard character chapters that it goes to black. We get a new character name on screen, and we're starting from their perspective.
Does it get? Is it 6 of them?
Yes, 6 total.
Oh, does it get old restarting? Does it feel repetitive?
That's kind of my point in saying, I think. In lesser hands, maybe. But I feel like because it's with horror and because we get a lot of different tones in that reset,
right,
it's a useful breather to kind of restart that ramp up into horror, restart the ramp into shock, which I feel like he does best, that release of tension, that's what allows for the shock to hit the 4th, the 5th, the 6th time, which I would say in almost any other instance, I would say that would get old.
And we're jumping around in the timeline.
Yep.
It's not just, okay.
Yeah. Overlaps for sure.
Yeah,
but kind of switches it up each time.
Okay.
And switches up the tone most of all.
So, in 2 hours and 10 minutes, it didn't get, you were in. It sounds like you were in. Yeah.
And above all else is because, again, the mystery is kept. You're watching the movie and you don't know the answer to the mystery until the very last bit,
which is what you want. Yeah, the opposite of rails, Freakier Friday.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but also again, maybe not complex, maybe not intellectually satisfying as far as a mystery goes, but at the same time, a nice mystery that is a step away from, I don't know, every mystery being a whodunit now or big cast type of movie. It's a different way of doing it. I feel like paid off in a big way. I also think for the kind of the aesthetics, the horror that he goes after, dream sequences are really important as well, being windows into our character's trauma. They become the breadcrumbs. They become the clues that we pick up. And normally I say this because I don't like dream sequences in movies.
Same.
More often than not, character wakes up, it just feels like a waste of time.
Absolutely.
Here, it just felt nearly all the answers came from dreams, where it was interesting that the clues were spit out from our character's subconscious in some way and pushing the story forward. If anything, the dreams were the substance. The dreams were the answers that you're looking for. I have to say, I don't think this was an overly comedic movie, especially for how dark and miserable our characters are from the get-go. I mean, we're in the peak crisis of where's my child? Yet I gotta say, my theater experience was laughing out loud more than a handful of times, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't distracting. I mean, it really was excessive. Chapter 4 is probably the most comedic switch in tone. Chapter 4 is kind of like the reset you see in Barbarian. It shifts to a perspective of a junkie around Maybrook, and definitely feels like when we cut to Justin Long in Barbarian, it's just, it's unexpected because it's purposefully trying to be funny for the first time. My issue, though, is that the biggest outburst came way before we get to that chapter, and no less after what was intended to be funny. I'll compare these moments to a horror like Longlegs from last year, where some of the scares, they're meant to be 100% creepy, absolutely meant to terrify you, but somehow kind of play wrong with the audience. They play different than the audience is expecting. The least spoilery example I could give is how the children run in this. You can see it right on the poster. On the surface, it looks like they're way into anime and running like Naruto around the playground, arms outstretched on their sides. So I get maybe looking at that and seeing like a little bit of comedy, not the outbursts.
That would have crushed me. Yeah, it would have very much upset me.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, you even heard it without even diving too much into the film. Mm-hmm. People are calling this a mix of comedy. Yeah. There's a mix of comedy somewhere in there.
Do I tag? Is it so much so? I have it on the site now, and I didn't tag out comedy to it because I was like, "There's no way I can call this comedy, right?"
Yeah,
I wasn't buying it.
No,
to that extent at least.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it in comedy.
Okay, good.
You're not at least going into it for comedy.
I don't want people to go on this site, search for comedies, and this shows
up. Weapons. Sounds like a good time. Maybe I'll follow up with Time Bandits with the kids. Yeah. But for real, I mean, like this front right corner of the audience was out of control with their laughter. I mean, seriously, I say this 100% serious. More laughter than the Naked Gun, like
that is
as a whole.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was like the silliest of like wanting to get a laugh out of you no matter what.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah.
So a little bit much. I feel like that's where some of the divide is. People are very hot on this movie right now. I think it is worth the hype to a certain extent. A little bit of that, though, is that I think it boils down to the shock being important to how Craigers is making a horror movie between the last two movies we've seen. A little bit, though, unfortunately, my own theater experience detracting from that. I would absolutely recommend watching this, maybe not in the theater, but I'd absolutely recommend checking out sooner rather than later to avoid the minefield of spoilers online, because this is, unfortunately...
You want to experience this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For how much it plays, keep away with the mystery, but also because, I mean, you can truly spoil this with just like one word, and then you kind of get the movie. That I don't like. I know every big company nowadays likes to hire a social media person to make funny jokes, but I'm looking at HBO Max's account. When those jokes spoil the literal last seconds of the movie without context, that's an unfollow for me. I mean, that's unacceptable.
Wow.
Craiger is someone I will be keeping an eye on, though, and with 2 surprising hits under his belt, let's just hope he doesn't lose anything dipping into the franchise pool. We're going to go ahead and give Weapons a 75.
Okay, 75%. Still that's a good movie.
Yeah, I would say
that's a very good movie right there.
Just shy under Bring Her Back, just shy over Sinners.
Yeah.
I feel like that's top 3 horror right now for the year.
And Craiger's first film, Barbarian, a lot of people love that movie. You were lukewarm. I think you were high 60s.
Yeah, I think we said it on last week. I'd probably even maybe knock that a few points
right.
after seeing it a second time, just randomly. But that said, I mean, he clearly has some trademarks building. He clearly has this like release of tension somewhere in the movie to rise it back up again.
Yeah.
And he definitely has a love of shock, just like, oh, this is crazy, you got to see it type of horror that
and that's
you're
why
just not going to expect.
That's why the buzz is so high.
Yeah.
And that's why people are digging this.
Exactly.
But 75%, you enjoyed yourself as well.
Oh, yeah.
I wish just the theater experience was a little bit better. I want to go down a couple characters, though. First of all, Josh Brolin. This is a very, this is a big actor to be in a film like this.
Yes.
And I think he's helping propel a lot of the weight behind it as well. And then I had some of the big concerns with Julia Garner because I was afraid, I liked her in Ozark, but a feeling like maybe that really is maybe the only character she should be playing. How was her as the lead female role?
Justine, very interesting character, complex. I feel like if there's anything that's going to kind of turn your stomach on the comedy later on, or like comedic beats later on, is just like how much of a real drama it is, Justine being unrightfully pointed at as the cause of all these kids disappearing.
Okay.
There's a serious, emotional toll that she's taking, and I feel like Julia Garner does a great job with that.
Okay.
Almost same shade of it for Josh Brolin, just like I was hoping for like a prisoner's experience of just like tortured parents.
You did say that, yes.
Not that, nowhere close, but definitely captures that like he's maybe going to be doing something that breaks some laws,
right.
and it's because he just misses his kid that much. You really see the emotional toll on these two characters.
He's such a good actor.
Yeah, it's really great.
And our boy kind of is in this too.
No,
it's one of the. You know how there's actors.
Oh yes, okay. I do know.
There's some actors out there where you're just like, where did they go?
Yeah.
So I feel this like Tom Berenger. He was one of the biggest names in the 80s, and like he showed up in Inception, but no, he's nowhere to be found.
Right,
he's a big Tom Berenger guy.
Nice.
Even Roy Scheider. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah,
All of a sudden
absolutely.
he's doing like TV movies. It's like, okay, biggest name in the 70s.
How do you go from Jaws to that? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's actors where you're like, oh, they never even got their break, and they better find it soon.
Right. Because
boy-
the clock's ticking.
My boy Toby Huss.
Toby Huss
plays like some cop or something.
Yeah,
right?
he plays the commissioner of the police department. Underwhelming. He's funny in the sense of like he really grills. I forget his name. The guy that plays new Han Solo. Alden Ehrenreich.
Exactly. Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
More like get a new name, bro. So he's funny in the sense of like he's a really hard to please dad, but I wanted more from Toby Huss. I literally saw him. I was just like, man.
Listen, okay, so Toby, well, you had a good experience with him because he was in Cop Shot.
Yes, and he's so good in Cop Shot.
I like him. I caught him well, first of all, his biggest role is he plays a major character in King of the Hill.
Yes,
he's in
right.
175 episodes of King of the Hill. But that's still just his voice.
Right.
Halt and Catch Fire on AMC.
You've always repped this show.
Very underrated show.
Yeah.
Just because everyone knows what are the two main ones?
Mad Men, Breaking Bad,
Walking Dead. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is it that good? No, but Halt and Catch Fire is a good show.
Sure.
He was on that. Cop Shot. He played. He played the. It's just such a stupid small role, but when I saw him,
right, you recognize him
he plays
right
the
away.
makeup artist in Blonde.
Oh, really?
He plays the main. What is her name?
Ooh, Charlize Theron.
No.
Oh wait, no. Oh,
you're thinking of Atomic Blonde. I'm thinking of.
Oh, you're thinking Anna de Armas Blonde.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. He plays the main, and he's just like, he's really weird in it. He's just a very weird guy.
He was a weird guy.
Big Toby Huss guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dying. I mean, go play like Michael Keaton's brother or something like that. They could make a movie together.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean,
he's just too good to not be in things.
Yeah. If anything, I saw him. I was like, no spoilers. He's not the problem. I wanted him to be the evil in this movie. I wanted him to be the problem.
Oh, okay. Always got to shout him out when I see his name.
Yeah, Toby Huss.
He's not in much. 75% for weapons, folks. Okay, thank you for letting me get that in.
I love
appreciate
that. That was definitely value added to the review.
So, looking at these, anything you want to touch on? Anything you want to highlight? Talk about next week or what? You want to give away the goat already? That's fine.
Yeah, we could. So next week, like we said, we didn't want to like build up the idea of the 200th episode too much, but we also did want to do something special. As far as the new release, we're looking at Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest, which kind of there's a dialogue around the film that they think it's going to be a dumb film. Spike Lee's people have been intentionally not marketing this movie for some reason.
You're not hearing much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Denzel Washington, it's Spike Lee. Mm-hmm. It's Apple.
Yeah. But
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think batting average is definitely bad on Apple. What it spotlighted to me, what came to mind initially is that Spike Lee has done this before. Specifically, what he has done is he has remade an older Asian movie and done a worse job at it. Highest to Lowest is ripping off an Akira Kurosawa film called High and Low, a must-watch on the website.
Yeah, beloved.
Yeah, one of my favorite.
Yeah,
really a great thriller in an era of that like thrillers were only like Hitchcock done. But Spike Lee has done this before. He remade Old Boy. Original Old Boy, a Korean film, arguably one of the best new Korean films from 2003. He remade it with Josh Brolin in 2013.
Literally 10 years later, yeah.
Vastly weaker version of the movie. So what we're going to be doing next week is we're going to cover Old Boy 03, Old Boy 2013, and then High and Low 1963, and Highs to Lowest as the new slot. And
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
2 OGs, 2 remakes.
And it gets Spike Lee on the internet a little bit.
Yeah.
Spike Lee on the site a little bit more.
He's on the internet, yeah.
I mean, we have covered a couple of his films already.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that. Like I said, Vin and I are traveling a little bit just to make sure we can go see it when it comes out on this coming Friday. And then, it's going to have a theater run, very limited. Then it'll be on Apple soon.
Yeah, it'll be Apple in September. So.
I'm excited to cover them.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I've been saving Akira Kurosawa. If you don't know that name, one of the biggest directors of all time.
Oh, sure.
I mean, often going down as one of the biggest inspirations for a lot of directors today.
Sure, and it's specifically Japanese as well. Probably the biggest name in Japanese directing.
Right.
Still today.
So the fact that he's like, just going for it. It's like, let me get Denzel and let's do highest to lowest with Apple.
Yeah.
He's got some balls. Spike Lee's got some balls to do that.
He does. But it's just so crazy that I don't know if he thinks he's getting away with it in doing these remakes. If like the average audience is not going to spot that they're remakes of older, and then oddly both of these being Asian films. It's like, what's going on there, Spike?
He's got a passion. What are you going to do? As far as Akira Kurosawa goes, too, one of his big people he looks up to, kind of mentors or his gods of directing.
Sure.
Is John Ford.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because Akira Kurosawa, when he's making his samurai movies, he's basically he wants to make westerns.
He wants to make, right. Exactly right.
That is a director study in its own, just how that ties into Star Wars, how that ties into blockbusters, a lot to unpack there.
I had been purposely not watching his films because I just want to almost tackle them at once.
Sure,
and the fact that we're doing High and Low and we're actually going to talk about him on the podcast is awesome. It's our 200th episode. We're covering Kurosawa. It's kind of cooler that we covered him than Spike Lee.
Absolutely.
But can't wait for next week. Folks at home, don't forget to listen to the new show that comes out on Tuesday mornings. You won't find that on our site, but you'll find that in your normal podcast feed on YouTube and all that good stuff. But anyway, let's run these films down one more time for today. We've got Time Bandits with a 48%, Freakier Friday with a 34%, and Weapons with a 75%. As always, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us week after week. Episode 200 is next Thursday, and we'll see you right back here on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. Just a reminder that Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.